the Calvin Booth firing. We'll hear from him about the decision, but for those of you that have not heard yet, Coach David Adelman is going to be the interim coach. He's been the lead assistant for a couple of years under Coach Malone. Here's Josh Kroenke laying it all out.
David Adelman will be moving into the head coaching role for the interim, and have a lot of confidence in him. I think that the decision, outside of the decision, there was thinking around two separate things, involving with the timing of it all. I think that the awkwardness of the timing with only 3 games left and then the playoffs looming. But it came down to 2 factors, and those 2 factors were side by side in my thinking, which is, one, I have a complete belief and trust in our group of players that are in there. And I have complete trust and belief in our assistant coaches and their ability to step up into different roles. And maybe if their voices are a little louder in certain areas, maybe they can squeeze some of that juice that I've been talking about.
All right, and then you can hear the theme words.
There's the juice.
With the juice,
yes,
as he's talking
Everyone's
about.
got to say they've got juice. Squeeze the juice.
Say it or your pay will be docked.
We get paid for this?
I think what he's saying there, the latter part about the assistant coaches now having an opportunity to have a louder voice, he's spot on that. That does go a long way. You're the head coach. You get the last word, right? End all be all is with you. And I would imagine that everybody feels this way, right? Like your boss does it their way. And you're like, if I were in charge, I'd do it like this. Everybody has that conversation internally, right? I'm sure David Adelman's done it. I'm sure Ryan Saunders. I'm sure everybody on that bench, Popeye, has done it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I were in charge, this is how I would handle it.
Right.
And now that voice is going to get a little bit louder. But again, I wonder if there was a split the way that it's being sold as and reported as, and the things that we've heard is confirming that, is there still like you're a Malone guy and now you're an Adelman guy?
Right.
And now you don't have a guy to be with on the other side because Calvin Booth fired and there's not a replacement or an interim title in that. So that's kind of my worry about Adelman still. Is he actually going to get a fair shot at this, or is there still so much drama inside of that building and his name is just next to Malone, so he's associated with him, that the players are just like, that's Michael Malone light. Why would we change anything?
Yeah, I hope they're not like that, but do we have any faith that they wouldn't be?
We'll find out tonight, but right now, no.
Yeah, right now, no. Now, tonight, the gamesman-like effort that you should see, I'm predicting the Nuggets win tonight. I think they get it done because the shock to the system. I think Will Peterson's still somewhere around the Mile High City. Shocked. I was shocked. Like, yeah, you're still in shock. So if you're a player, if you're in that locker room, if you're Nikola Jokic, who they went to before the news was released and just told them what they were going to do. Now, team-friendly media, very quick to point out, they would never go to Nikola to ask him what he wanted to do. Well, maybe they should have, right? If that's truly the case from team-friendly media, we get it, guys, juice. Yes, I understand. But if that's the case, well, maybe you should consult Big Fella because you should be a Joker guy. Forget being a Booth guy. Good luck with that. And then a Malone guy, you all should have been Malone guys. You all should have been Malone guys. Morgan Freeman voice. They were not all Malone guys. Well, guess what? Now Adelman gets his shot, and he needs to get a fair shot over this next however long they're playing basketball this year.
Well, another thing that Josh Kroenke talked about is, hey, what does this now look like after, whenever that may be, after the season and potential playoff run comes to an end?
We'll be going through a full search, when the time comes. And I look forward to that process when the time comes, but hopefully it doesn't come for a very long time because, again, I do believe there's more in that group, and we're not done with this season just yet.
All right, and look, he believes that, I'm sure. Oh, that's another thing. Do you think Josh Kroenke addressed the team, or did he leave that to David Adelman?
He should have addressed the team.
I know he should have. He should have taken questions from media that he doesn't pay.
Yes.
He didn't do that either.
Right. So, well, maybe he didn't. We know that it was, here's what we're doing, get on a plane. It was all very odd. The timing was very curious. Everything was odd. And if the problem was Sunday night, did you have to sleep on it on Monday? Sunday night and Monday night?
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, why the delay? If Sunday night was the final straw between those two and whatever happened, not fisticuffs, but I mean, if I were to guess, probably some sort of physicality, right? And not just a yelling match. Although, yelling, shoving, something like that. I don't know.
That's
We're just
maybe
speculating.
like a, hey, get out of my face, little.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of funny to watch. A
Yeah.
couple old guys, get out of here. But either way, like, when was it said? What did Josh say? Was he the one that delivered the message? I think the message needs to be received. Whoever delivered the message, you better be listening. And I don't care if you're a Calvin guy. I don't care if you're Jamal, who's supposedly okay or whatever. Again, consider the source. But if we look at MPJ, did you get the message? Did you get the message? You're real happy when you didn't get traded. You were real concerned and balling out, by the way, before the trade deadline. Then when you didn't get traded, MPJ just like dialed it in, phoned it in. You gonna do that now?
Well, I want to talk more about MPJ and what we learned about MPJ's trade status being up in the air and then taken back from ownership. But here's Josh Kroenke talking about, again, a little bit longer of an answer here, but he kind of talks about what's masked their problems and what came to the decision or led to the decision from yesterday.
This wasn't a decision that was taken lightly or taken as in a reactionary fashion to anything specific. Having observed our group over a very long period of time, what I would say is that, having observed that group over a period of time, there were certain trends that were very worrisome to me at different points in time. But they would get masked by a few wins here and there. And, in the world of professional sports, when winning and losing is your currency, winning can mask a lot of things. We went on an eight-game win streak right before the All-Star break. But since then, I think we're 11-13. We've lost our last 4, and we're trending towards a direction that I thought would probably be a very near end to our a very near end to our season in the near future. And so all that taken into consideration, wanted to try to figure out a way to potentially squeeze as much juice out of the rest of the season as possible. And I think that, after talking with my father in recent days, we came to the decision that we were going to be changing these roles at the end of the season. And that, with that thinking in our mind that we know that we're going to be changing these roles at the end of the season, then your mind then turns to, what is the best decision for this group right now? And, from that point forward, I think that, I became comfortable with the thinking of, let's try to shake this tree and squeeze as much out of this as we can. And that's where we arrived at with the decisions today.
All right, so what I want to talk about is how he's talking about the 8 games before. And you remember I went back and looked at it. It was like early February to the 20th, right after the All-Star break, and then they lost the second one after.
Right.
And it is the 8-game streak. It was like 3 before the break, and then you come out and you win a couple afterwards. And if you remember, you can go back, the 3 before the break, Michael Porter Jr. scored 30 in 3 straight games. And then remember, had the hamstring in the last one, and then said, I didn't do any running throughout the break, led to not doing any shooting because he was trying to rest the hamstring. It was also reported, Jake Shapiro had it, we had both heard it, that it was Josh Kroenke that said, hey, we're not trading Michael Porter Jr. Take his name's out of the conversation.
Right.
He is still going to
Not gonna
remain
happen.
a Denver Nugget.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple things that go into that. I mean, they're both kids from Missouri.
The Mizzou
right?
thing?
They went to Missouri. They
Yeah.
have that same tie.
That's weak if that's the case. That's weak.
I agree with you.
It's a Penn State thing and the same thing we're talking about with Calvin and what, Pickett, right? So
With Jalen Pickett, yeah. So that is a part of this as well. That, I mean, I know it's always hindsight and it's easy to have these conversations with hindsight. Are we here today? Are we on Wednesday, April 9th, talking about Michael Malone and Calvin Booth being fired if they traded Michael Porter Jr. at the deadline?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
Because then people get you're
on alert.
Yeah, you're right.
You're on alert.
You're up. You've been woken up.
Yeah. Well, they're talking about, and God bless Josh. We like Josh, but we got the juice. We have the memo of the juice memo. We don't have to read it word for word like some, but come on, man. You want to send a message? You send it too late. You send it at the wrong time. Life can be full of regrets if you let it. Is this a regret from Josh that he didn't do a trade or trade Michael Porter Jr. sooner? You wanted a shock, right? You want to shake the trees. Isn't that what he said? He said a lot, and he said juice multiple times.
Yeah.
We get it. But he did say shake the tree. You want to shake the trees. Why don't you do that by trading MPJ, right? That would have shaken the trees. That would have woken guys up. That would have alerted, put everyone on alert of like, oh, this isn't good enough. But instead, you him-hommed around, oh, well, it takes some time. And what had happened is when Jamal's right, how much of an excuse did Jamal get in November and December? And then, oh, well, hey, and then he'll turn it on, and playoff Jamal is a thing, but we've seen it once. It's the Daffy Duck magic trick. You can do it one time.
Yeah.
He's never done it since. Like, that's it. 4 of the last 5 years. When he did it, when it was playoff Jamal, they won it all. And yes, I'm going to go Johnny Cochran on you and rhyme from here on out.
That.
Pepperidge Farm remembers, but like, I look at it and I go, wait a second. You want to shake the trees? Nobody's listening right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's too late. It's 1, 2, 3 Cancun. That's all they're doing.
Something else happened on social media last night that I'm undecided between, like, is this an agent doing his job? Is there, when there's smoke, there's fire? Because I don't believe, and I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, what does this mean for Nikola now? My personal feeling, I have no inside information on this. It's just how I feel. I don't think Nikola Jokic plays for another NBA team ever. The only NBA team Nikola Jokic plays for will read Denver on the front of his shirt. That's just my feeling. Now, that NBA Europe that we've talked about a couple times, that might be a whole nother conversation when this current contract is up. Let's see where the league is,
that's
how
in the
established it's become,
right,
and what kind of money he can go and make. But our buddy Jake Shapiro tweeted this out, was it this morning or last night?
Last night, I believe.
Last night.
With Nikola's agent.
And he writes, Nikola's agent, I'm not even going to try to say the guy's name, has posted this on Instagram. And he's got a screenshot of NBA Central tweeted, the Lakers are the favorites to be Nikola Jokic's next team per @Bovada official. It's the Lakers at plus 500, 2 European teams coming in behind them, then Toronto, Clippers, whatever, a bunch of NBA teams. And, of course, that's going to get people's attention because that's the agent of Nikola Jokic. Why is he doing that? Is he doing that to kind of put a little bit of a full court press on the Denver Nuggets? Is this Nikola and his agent going, we know how the Cronkies operate, and if they operate the way they've operated in the past, this isn't going to get any better.
Yeah.
And this is our one chance here to say, we're watching and we're waiting to figure out how you handle this to decide whether or not our future is right here in the Mile High City, or I'm taking my ass back home to Sombor and kicking it in Serbia for the rest of my life.
And being right there by my horses, right? And that's why this next coaching hire and this next GM hire need to be as precisely in tune as possible with Nikola Jokic as you possibly can get because of what you just said. Because if you hire the wrong guy, if you go cheap and you get the wrong guy, and he's not on the same page as Nikola, he doesn't get it done, maybe this is why, in a way, Nikola signed off on the Michael Malone firing. Because had he raised a stink, hey, Nikola, hey, good morning. I know you're about ready to hit the airport. We have to tell you we're firing Coach Malone today and Calvin. If he goes, no, you're not, what does Josh do? If Nikola says, no, you're not firing Michael Malone.
They don't fire Michael Malone.
They don't fire Michael Malone. Point blank, period.
Mm-hmm.
So they are watching. The point is, they're always watching. And your next move had better be your best move if you're the Denver Nuggets. Or else what you think will never happen. Nug for life. I hope. I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Because I don't know who the next head coach is.
Someone just wrote on the text lines from 720-289. I have nipples, Josh. Can you juice me?
Oh, my God.
What a strange and hilarious text message that you just sent in. I actually really appreciate that. All right. Yeah, so we'll see what happens from it. We'll see if there's any spark. We're going to find out tonight, Cecil. What early feelings they come out, motivated? They come out a team possessed, wanting to show something?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. And a team that wants to do more around Nikola. If he wanted to drop 50 a night, he could. If you think I'm a homer, then just say 40. If Joker wanted to be a 40-point-a-night guy, he would be. Because he could be. With his rare skill set and his passing ability and his shooting ability and everything, just the size that he has, He would be all that. Now, his defense would stink because his defense is not great, Bob.
Right.
And that needs to change. Now, he's never going to be the greatest defender. It's basically just being that big and moving that way, but having better defensive awareness, right? Not wanting and being as concerned getting into foul trouble, but sometimes Nikola gets in foul trouble because his body positioning's off, because he's late when he's coming over to help on defense. So get some of that cleaned up, but get someone to help him. And tonight, maybe we see flashes of somebody, I don't know who that is, somebody that's willing to step up and say, you know what? Joker's our closer. So in the fourth quarter, he's going to be unstoppable because guess what? He's unstoppable. But in quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, he doesn't have to do everything. That's the problem. Michael Malone had a great plan, as much Joker as possible, until you wear him down last year and until you piss him off this year. Someone else has got to step up, stand out, and help in that scoring aspect as much as you can. First, second, third quarter, fourth quarter, Joker take over.
Yeah, it's not that complicated.
Shouldn't be.
But here we are, now figuring out what the hell David Adelman is going to do. By the way, looking at the Nuggets official injury report for tonight, the good news is there's only 2 names on it, and one of them is going to remain on it forever, or the rest of the season, in Deron Holmes. The other, let's hope his name's not on it the rest of the season, is Jamal Murray, but he's doubtful with his right hamstring inflammation.
I thought people knew him, though, and he was okay.
Yeah, I guess not. Maybe he's not okay. Again, be careful who you get your information from.
I'm not going to get teetotaled and get on the air.
Does Jamal, if they're going to have a chance, do you have to have Jamal as close to 100% as possible when you get to either the play-in or to your first playoff game, round 1, game number 1? If Jamal doesn't play at all tonight, Friday versus Memphis and Sunday versus Houston?
Sunday, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't know that I care about that.
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't care. But he better show up game 1. He had better show up game 1. And by show up, I mean like 25 points.
That's the other thing about this. You think guys like Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. have any sense of any sense of accountability that this has gone on? Because it's look, Malone's message has gone stale. That's he
1,000%.
He said it, right? Like they told us that. They won't listen. They don't watch film. He told us everything that we needed to know about him and the relationship with the guys in the locker room.
Right.
But if you're Jamal and you're not Nikola, but if you're Jamal and you're Michael Porter Jr., how do you not look at yourself in the mirror and go, man, had I just given a little bit more effort? If you're Jamal Murray, if I had been in shape, if I had figured out a way to condition my body to play 82 basketball games, hell, I'm not even asking for 80, 70 basketball games, does my coach still have a job?
MPJ, no, because he wouldn't care. Jamal, yes, but he'd blame the injury. He wouldn't blame himself and lack of preparation or being availability is an ability.
Yeah.
And can someone just get Bo Lowry? We haven't mentioned Bo's name in a couple days.
There you go.
Can somebody get Bo Lowry over to Ball Arena, please? For the love of God, let the magic of Bo Lowry reign supreme over not only the Denver Broncos, but also the Denver Nuggets. Because Jamal will feel that way, in my opinion. You could totally disagree. But Jamal won't feel that way if only I had been. He would be like, man, if only I wasn't hurt, I would have changed things. Because, of course, he would think that, and I like that he thinks that. I like that he would think, I could change some things. Well, start to change them.
Right.
You're the guy. Everything relies on Jamal. MPJ's just an ornament. He's on the wall, right? It's like, hey, that's a nice picture. We have Mike Evans' big board of BS. Do you know how much it matters? 0. But hey, it's there on the wall.
Yeah.
That's MPJ standing in the corner right now. Hey, there he is. I see it. I see the Mike Evans big board of BS. I see MPJ's big spot of BS.
Yeah.
There he is, guys. Yeah, okay. Everything relies on Jamal. Your playoff success, your regular season success. How much can you help Joker? He can't do everything because when you ask him to do everything, this is what happened.
I would say, Jamal was also one of Malone's guys. So it was like, and again, it's stuff that we've learned here over the last 24, 48 hours. And that Jamal and Joker were treated a little differently by Coach Malone. And when I say that out loud, you know what popped into my head right away? Who cares? It's the old Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh Steelers thing of, what's the exact? I'm not going to treat you all the same, but I'm going to treat you fair or whatever.
Right.
Equal and fair.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Guess what? Jamal Murray's more important than Peyton Watson. Nikola Jokic is more important than Christian Brown.
Yep.
We're the midday show. Guess who gets treated better? The drive time shows. And guess what? It's how the game works, folks.
Yes.
Know your role and play it well.
Mm-hmm. You're not lying.
So, I don't know. I want to be with you and having this faith about Jamal understanding that. But,
But blaming the injury, not himself.
Yeah.
He wouldn't blame himself.
But then again, it's like, all right, if you're blaming the injury without having any accountability for yourself, you still don't get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you still don't understand you're actually a bigger part of this problem than just being injured.
And he won't get that. That's the part he won't
That's a
get.
damn shame.
By the way, speaking of the suits, I have a Don't Be That Guy that is exclusively for one of them.
Okay.
So my man Richie Carney yesterday, we're in a show meeting, right? And he said something about what we were talking about. He's like, that's fire.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, whoa, Richie.
You can't say that.
Richie, you're like 30, what is he, 35, 32?
I don't know. He's 30
I know there's a 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and as the official old guy, like, hey, I'm not running around talking about that's extra or period point or what's the vibe or that hits different or fire or flex or bougie, right? I'm not talking about Riz. I'm not talking about sus. That's sus. Basic, stand, slay. That's slays. Cap. I don't say no cap, bro. I don't say drip. I don't say lit. I don't say high key. Now, high key.
Yeah,
I do say hag maxing sometimes, but I'm just making fun. I'm trying to get Kev to the damn flea market.
Yeah.
Can we get Kev to the flea market, ladies, please? But Richie, my man, Richie Carney, love you, bro. You can't say fire.
There's a cutoff for fire.
And the tribe can back us up. 303-713-1043. Old guys that say new lingo, and that's not even new. That's just like Gen Z stuff. And Richie, you're not Gen Z, bro. You're a millennial, okay? So it's almost as ridiculous because there's an expiration date on all this stuff. Because you don't talk about Jankos anymore unless we're like reminiscing, right? Back in the day. But it's not like I'm saying that's rad or whatever we said in the 90s. I can't even remember. It's been that long ago.
I will say stuff rips. Is that okay? Is that getting close? The face you're making makes me feel like it's getting close.
It's close. It would have to be in context. If you're just talking about skateboarding, then it would be allowed.
Okay.
But Tribe, back me up or tell me I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm just going to say that's fire. You know what? Fire and Michael Malone, that was fire. I'm lit. That's lit. No, I'm not lit. I'm totally not lit. That was other people on there.
Are you mid?
Mid. There you go. Mid. Slay.
I didn't know what mid meant forever.
Bussin'. I talk to my daughter sometimes, Katarina, and she's a Gen Zer, and she'll be like, period point. And I'm like, what? And it means like, like end of, I agree, like end of, like I totally agree, like, but period. I'm like, can you speak English, please? Can you say that? And I just said bussin'.
I don't know what that one is.
When something is, it means it is not simply wonderful, but also extremely delectable or remarkable.
Okay.
That Torchies was bussin', yo.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
Is that why they're called? Is that why they're called Bussin' with the Boys? That podcast.
Well, even they're too old for that.
Well, yeah,
they're too old for that.
Taylor Lewan is a little too old for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's Goodwill Jason Kelsey.
Yeah,
that's what Taylor Lewan is. He's Goodwill Jason Kelsey.
Okay. Yeah. So let us know because I know y'all have coworkers that say fire, and for me, if you're like 20, if you're a Nilo, right? What's a Nilo? 23, whatever.
Yeah, he's a younger fella.
He can say fire. Yeah. That's fine. That's his generation. But if you're 30 something, if Kev starts saying fire, I'm gonna make fun of him.
Yeah. Somebody just wrote, "I'll still say dank." Man, that food was dank.
Dank is allowed.
That's from the 90s.
Dank is allowed.
Yeah.
Because that can describe so many things. I believe dank is allowed. We have to get to the bottom of this. It might just be me, but when Richie said fire, I was just like, come on.
What about the fire emoji? Can we send the fire emoji to each other?
I think that's okay. Like you guys don't send me skateboarding clips, but my friends that send me skateboarding clips, I'll respond with like a fire emoji if a dude rips a nice trick or something.
Not in my algorithm, no.
I'll start sending you guys some of mine then.
Okay.
All right, let us know, Tribe. What are some of those words that you can't use?
Oh, my buddy Luke Costello, not my neighbor
Luke.
Luke. He says he's a Chiefs fan, so forgive him, please.
Maybe
but
not,
he says,
Luke.
fire doesn't fall into the Gen Z category, LOL. I Googled it. It's on the internet.
Yeah.
It must be true. Don't say fire. You're 30-something. Don't say fire, please.
I probably agree
Save
with you
us.
on that one. All right, let us know on the text line 303-713.